Hello and welcome back to another video, guys. Now that's right, it is finally time for my end of the month video. Now it is a bit delayed. I'm filming this on the 5th, it's going up on the 6th. It's late because I've been on holiday. I come back a bit late, hence why this list is a little bit shorter than the last 2 months as well. So I do apologise about it being a little bit late, but we're here finally. We're here. This video takes a long time to film, takes a even longer time to edit. So yeah, we are going to get stuck straight in. I just want to quickly say, I know that my review yesterday was on the Tomorrow War, but it's not going to be on this list because obviously I did watch that yesterday, so I watched it during the month of July, so it's not going to be in my films for June. So Tomorrow War will not be on this list, but anyway, you already know what I think of that movie because I've done a whole video on it. But anyway, let's get stuck in. So the first movie I watched of June 2021, let me scoot over here so you can see the posters a bit more clearly. And that is The Trouble with Harry. That's right, another Alfred Hitchcock movie. Still making my way through that box set. For me, this personally, I know that people love Hitchcock. And I love Hitchcock as well. I'm really digging that box set. There's so many great movies in there. But for me personally, this was maybe the weakest one I've watched so far. I didn't connect with the characters as well. And yeah, I don't know. I found myself drifting in and out of this movie. I really liked the cinematography in this movie. I thought the script was quite tight. But as I said, I think the characters were a bit too loose for me. And yeah, I found myself drifting in and out of this movie. It's not a bad movie. I still really enjoyed it. It's just the ones that come before it are so much better, I think. I'm going to give The Trouble with Harry a 7 out of 10. Then we have the movie. And this is interesting because I now have watched all of my Criterion Blu-rays. There'll be a Criterion updated video this week, probably. So Criterion fans, get ready for that. Very exciting stuff. This was one of the last ones I had to watch in my collection. And that was Roma. That's right, the Mexican movie which came out, I think, 2018, I want to say. I had yet to watch it. It's on Netflix. Really wanted to get around to watch it because I'm pretty sure it's going up for Best Picture. I know it's going up for a load of awards. And I've got to say, when I put it on, I struggled at the start. I think the movie took about 10 to 15 minutes to find its footing. But once it got going, I was so invested in this movie. The characters were brilliant. The cinematography was absolutely gorgeous, like beautiful. And I think that the movie being black and white really helped as well. It really gave the movie a bit more character and made it a bit more engaging at times and left more to the imagination as well, I want to say. But I found some of the twists and turns later on in it just brilliant. I thought this film was really, really great. Considering how much I was struggling with the first 10 minutes, I really didn't think I was going to like the film much. It turned around so quick and surprised the hell out of me. I'm going to give Roma an 8 out of 10. Then we have Before Sunrise. That's right, the first film in the Before trilogy, which I have right here. Picked this up right at the start of last month with some gift vouchers from some contests I won, so I made a start on that set. And don't worry, we're going to talk about all 3 here. I watched them all last month. But this was my favourite of the 3. Spoiler alert. It was really, 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 really good movie. For a start, the dialogue is brilliant. Ethan Hawke is quickly becoming one of my favourite actors, and I'm so happy that he's been cast in Knives Out too. The actress in it, whose name's escaping me off the top of my head, could pull down my set and just look at it, but I'm trying to go quick. She was fantastic as well. Absolutely incredible. Both the actors do brilliant jobs. And I love this one because I love Paris. I love France. I love just walking, like, films like this, like Midnight in Paris, those sort of things, where you're just walking around the streets of France. It's beautiful. And you could tell that the filmmakers had a great time capturing that because the cinematography is great. The thing with this, considering there really isn't much that happens in this movie technically, it needs a tight script, and it really does, this movie. It's absolutely fantastic. I love where this film goes, every direction it takes. The open interpretation ending, I really love. I really was a big fan of this movie. I thought it was really, really well done. I'm going to give this film a 9 out of 10. Such a solid movie. Really great. Then, continuing on with my Godzilla set. Of course, there were 2 left in my Criterion box set to watch. We have Terror of Mechagodzilla. I was really excited to finally get to Mechagodzilla. You know, who doesn't love a bit of Mechagodzilla? He's he's pretty damn cool, isn't he? You know, we've experienced him a few times lately on the big screen. Ready Player or Not, Ready Player or Not, Ready Player One, and then of course he made his debut appearance in the MonsterVerse with Godzilla vs Kong. So I was really excited. And I've got to say, the design of him was pretty good in these films, considering this was 75, this one, I think, 75, 76. So that was really, really cool. I had some issues with the movie, of course. You know, these Showa-era Godzilla films, you've got to take them for what they are. They're a bit of cheesy fun. The robot guy who was like human-sized and then grew to the size of Godzilla and just flew through the air like this the whole time. Wasn't a fan of that guy. Yeah, weren't a fan of him. I like the monster that kept coming back from the film before. I thought he was cool. You got kind of like two super Godzilla monsters in this one. And I you know, constantly felt bad for the little turtle guy that helps Godzilla out from Godzilla Raids Again. I was constantly thinking, oh, please don't kill him, please. And at one point, you know, at the start of the movie, I was getting well pissed off at Godzilla because I thought he was going to kill him. But then obviously the twist happens. The big Godzilla twist. But, you know, it was a fun movie. I actually enjoyed the Mecha Godzilla movies quite a bit. I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10. Then I finally got around to watching an absolute classic from the 80s. You know, everyone's told me you got to watch this. There are some people on YouTube who are constantly asking me in my comment sections on live streams and videos, have you seen this movie yet? Have you seen this? And a lot of my friends like this movie as well. And they keep telling me to watch it. So I finally did it. I've had it on Arrow Video for a while. So I thought, you got to do it, James. You got to watch it. So I did it. An American Werewolf in London. I finally did it. Yeah, this film was really good, really good. I mean, hey, some cheesy 80s fun there at times. Some silly moments to it, like the nurse, of course, falls in love with the American werewolf, takes him home and stuff, and it's like, of course, I'm not sure this would be allowed, but okay. Of course, the transformation scene is absolutely incredible. In fact, it's on the cover of my Arrow Video Blu-ray copy of it, because they're fully aware of how awesome that transformation scene is. The werewolf stuff was great. The horror aspect to it was really good. I liked the gore level they went to. It was just a really fun movie to follow. And the ending cracked me up. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't watched it, but when, you know, right at the very end, it's like, oh my God, that's happened. And then the credits just, boom, they're on. It's like, oh, okay, film's done. But I really enjoyed American Werewolf in London. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And then, of course, the final... finally, I did then crack into the Heisei era of Godzilla with, where's the name? Where have I put it? Return of Godzilla. So I'm out the Criterion box set now. That's that done. Which is a bit of a shame, but you know, it had to come to an end eventually. So I've cracked into the the Heisei era films now, Godzilla. Starting off with, of course, this one, the first one. Update effects, Godzilla looks a lot better. It tries to capture some of that magic of the original Godzilla, I think. And it does a good job at it, I think. It was a little bit... I liked this movie, I really did. But I don't know why, I kind of found it a little bit forgettable at times. Like, there are genuine things I remember about some of the Heisei era. The Showa era. I keep getting the eras mixed up. Sorry, I apologise. I keep on remembering things from the Showa era, the Criterion set, more than this one, the Heisei era, the first Heisei era movie. But yeah, no, it was still fun. There was some elements to it I liked, but overall, it was good. It was good. I'll give it a 7. I'll be kind. And that's actually it for Godzilla. So Godzilla fans, I'm sorry. I genuinely just, because these Showa era films are a lot. The Heisei era films. Sorry, I keep getting the eras mixed up. The names, they're a lot harder to find. So you got to sail the 7 seas a bit for these ones. Next up, I watched Excalibur, the 80s movie. I've had this on premium for a while now. Thought it was finally time to crack into it. Didn't realise how great the cast was. Everyone who was popping up was just wowing me. I was like, oh my God, this guy's in it, this guy's in it. And most of them do a good job. The only one that doesn't do a great job, I think, is the main guy. Doesn't put in a great performance, I don't think. And I want to say that this film is too long as well. I think the runtime definitely could have been trimmed down. It really felt bloated at times. But overall, it's an interesting movie. I didn't dislike it by any means. I know some people really like it. For me, it was just above average. It was decent. I'd give it a 6.5 out of 10. Then, Ryan's been trying to get me to watch this one for ages. And I've actually seen the sequel to this many years ago. And I've seen it a few times now. But I finally got around to watching Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah, this was a really cute film. I think I watched it on Prime. I think it was on Prime. And it was just really nice. All of the actors in it really do a good job. Really do. Russell Brand, I'm not really a fan of, if I'm being honest. Because, of course, he starts in the sequel, Getting to the Greek. I didn't find him near as annoying as he normally is. He was actually somewhat tolerable in this film. It's, it is what it is, this movie. It's a really cutesy kind of film. But yeah, I really dug it. I really got on board with it. It made me laugh a few times. I really liked all the characters. It was just a sweet little fun film to watch, which I'll definitely be rewatching at some point. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next movie I have reviewed in detail here on the channel, so I'm going to be very quick here. Quiet Place Part 2. Yeah, we're back at the cinema. There's a few films here that I got to see at the cinema, which is really exciting. Quiet Place Part 2. Yeah, this was really good follow-up to the first one. And I think I said this in my review. I'm still not sure what film I prefer out of the two. They're kind of on equal level for me. Loved how the film opened. I loved the open to interpretation ending again. Cillian Murphy was fantastic addition to the cast. He's great. All the other actors, of course, putting in 110% again. The monsters are awesome. The tension's there. It's great. The movie was fantastic. It was really good. Going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. I'm not even sure what I gave it in my review. I'm not even sure if my score's still the same. Anyway, I'm going to have a quick drink. Because last time I done one of these monthly videos, I forgot to bring a drink up with me. And by the end of it, my voice was dying. Right, that's good. Okay. Next up, we have Before Sunset. The follow-up to Before Sunrise, of course. Filmed almost 10 years after. Long gap there between the two films. I really enjoyed this movie as well. I liked how they sort of reconnected the characters, I gotta say. And again, this film has a lot of the same stuff in terms of like the cinematography is still great. The script is so fantastic again. It feels very natural how these characters are rolling off each other with the dialogue. And again, the actors are putting in such great performances. And the scenery is fantastic. I love the locations they picked to film in all three of these movies. I feel like there was more going on in the first one. There was more places they were going to. There were more characters that were popping up, doing more fun things. This one felt more like a genuine stroll through, even though it was still in France, a less interesting area, maybe, place, an area of France. So I definitely preferred the first one. This was still really good. But yeah, I think maybe just some more interesting things could have popped up along their little journey. Because this film's quite short compared to the other two. The first and the last one are both 2-hour mark. This is like an hour and a half. So I think this film actually just could have been longer. I think is a good way to look at it. I genuinely think this film could have been longer. And again, love the open ending stuff. That's great. I love that about these films. I'm going to give this one an 8.5. Definitely not as good as the first one, but still not far off. Then we have The Man Who Knew Too Much, which is also another interesting Hitchcock film, which I found enjoyable. I kind of have similar feelings towards this one and The Trouble with Harry, to be honest. They're kind of down on the weaker end of the out of the Hitchcock films I've watched so far. Don't get me wrong, still a good time, still enjoyed this movie. But yeah, it sort of is what it is. It's a piece of its time. There's some good dialogue in it. I like all the actors. Some of the cinematography is nice. Yeah, I don't really have too much to say about this one. I can't remember too much about it, to be honest, out of all the films I watched last month. So I'll just give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have another Studio Ghibli movie from Up on Poppy Hill, which is one people have been recommending me to watch for a while. First off, I want to say the score to this movie was really great. Really surprised me how fun and energetic it was. because a lot of these Studio Ghibli films have good scores, but this one really caught me by surprise. Really great. Love the story of this. Very heartwarming, very grounded compared to a lot of the weird wackiness that Studio Ghibli go for. This one felt like the most normal film yet. And I just really enjoyed all the characters to this. The animation style to it, of course, the anime is fantastic. It's really, really awesome to watch. And yeah, I had a really great time with this one. If you haven't seen From Up on Poppy Hill, it's actually a really good Studio Ghibli film. If you don't like the weird wackiness of Ghibli, this maybe is a good one for you. I'm going to give this film an 8 out of 10. Then I watched another Bong Joon-ho film from my box set, working backwards, and I watched The Host. Yes, The Host. I knew nothing going into this, didn't look at the poster, didn't know nothing. So I thought maybe it might, because I was under the impression that it was a very dark kind of film. To my surprise, when a giant monster jumped out the water at the start of the film, I didn't realise it was a monster movie. I don't think this film had a big budget because the monster didn't look great, but I'm not going to hold that against it. You know, it's a smaller budget Korean movie. But wow, this film was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. This film sort of sat with me for a few days. Couldn't stop thinking about some of the things that happened. There's some real shocking moments to it. Some of the things that unfolded throughout this movie were just incredible. Really caught me off guard, and that's what I love about Bong Joon-ho. His films really do leave me thinking. So far, the man hasn't made a bad film, in my opinion. I've really loved all 4 I've watched now. Parasite, Mother, Snowpiercer, and now The Host. All incredible movies. This man is so good. I'm going to give The Host an 8.5 out of 10. Then, again, watch this one in cinema, so I reviewed this one properly, so I will be quick here with this one. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Yeah, this you know, it wasn't as good as the first 2 Conjuring films, but I still had a really good time with this. You know, I'm sort of repeating what I said in my review here. I think what this film was missing was an actual more scary threat. Like, you had Annabelle sort of in the first one, and the weird dead woman who was jumping around the house who looked horrible. And then you had the nun in the second one, and Annabelle was still lurking about. You had the what's his name? The Cricket Man or something like that. The Crooked Man. This one, the monster just wasn't near scary enough, in my opinion. The jumps sort of come few and far between as well. There were some empty pouches throughout this movie for sure, and I feel like it got a bit bloated near the end. Too many different story or characters trying to deal with this ghost. But saying that, it still was quite well paced, I thought, considering everything that the film was trying to do. The 2 leads in it carry this movie. They're brilliant actors. You know, Patrick Wilson, we got to say, I'm becoming a huge fan of this man. He's a fantastic actor. Yeah, the Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. It was still a good time. Still enjoyed it. 6.5 out of 10. Then, as many of you might remember, I started watching The Nightmare on Elm Street last month. I watched the first one. Well, I watched the second one, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. And I quite enjoyed this movie. I've come to learn that it's not really a very popular one. But then again, are any of the sequels to these sort of films? But, you know, I had a good time with it. I thought it was enjoyable enough. I didn't really like how it picked up after the first one, but that sort of gets changed in the third one. We'll get to that because I did watch the third one this month. But yeah, Freddy's Revenge, I find it sort of hard to talk about these movies because they're all just silly, goofy 80s horror films, and they're fun. I mean, no offense to them when I say that. But, you know, they're fully aware of what they are, that these silly characters jumping, you know, Freddy Krueger's this weird character jumping about with his little clawy hand. And they're just trying to make you jump. But it was a good time. I had a good time with this film. I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Then, I know, I'm pretty sure I saw this when I was younger, but I couldn't remember it, so I've included it. I watched, quote unquote, for the first time, Halloween. Yeah. So, I picked up this set from Italy, which is region 3, plays in the UK, all fine. Beautiful, beautiful box set. So, I'm not only going through the Nightmare on Elm Street films, I'm now going through Halloween. And I also picked this up from America, but I haven't started this one yet because I only got it last week. Chucky. So we're also going to be going through the Chucky films as well. So no Chucky this month. Didn't get any in. But Halloween, yeah, I watched it. John Carpenter, one of the best directors of all time. The man is absolutely incredible. Wow, this film is so good. So good. I'm not sure if I preferred it to the first Nightmare on Elm Street or not. Because I really loved that one as well. But wow, the music was incredible. And am I correct in saying John Carpenter done the score to it? Because it popped up on my Blu-ray, you know, music by John Carpenter. And I was like, really? So Michael Myers, very interesting character. I mean, he's pretty bloody useless, really. Every 5 seconds, he's dropping his knife and getting hit or stabbed in the eye or something. But he makes for an awesome villain. He looks bloody cool. I really loved this movie. This was great. The tension was there. The characters, the deaths were gruesome and creative. I had a really fun time with this movie. Halloween, I don't really know what I can say about it that hasn't already been said. It's a classic. It's a great horror film. I'm going to be watching this every Halloween now. Great movie. 8.5 out of 10. Then I watched A Night to Remember. That's right, I actually bought another Criterion this month. This is the last Criterion I bought. I've got it up here. Had to import it from America, but you can get a very cheap Blu-ray copy in the UK. So I'll show you what I've done now. Even though you'll see it in my Criterion video, I just popped the regular Blu-ray in there. And I know people saying, why don't you just have the normal Blu-ray? But look, a Criterion looks so much cooler on the shelf. Night to Remember. People might not know this about me. When I was younger, I had a weird obsession with the Titanic. Not the movie, just the Titanic in general. I used to watch so many documentaries on it, buy so many books. I thought it was fascinating that this ship that they quote-unquote classed unsinkable sunk on its first voyage. All the conspiracy theories behind it. Fun fact, my granddad's mum and dad were getting on the boat and their ticket got... The last minute, they decided to hand their ticket in and not go. They were literally on the docks ready to board it. So there's even some personal family history towards this epic historic event. I've always found this fascinating. When I was younger, I could name half the officers on the ship. I can't really do it anymore. I've lost a lot of those facts, but always been fascinated by it. I like the James Cameron movie a lot. Like, I love the back half of the movie. I just don't like the lovey-dovey stuff. I don't think it's aged well. I find it a bit cringy. This one doesn't have none of that. This is straight to the point. Iceberg hit. Boom. And for a movie that was made in 1958, I think it was. Oh, it doesn't sound as fun. This film looks incredible. Absolutely incredible. The sets that they built, the ship looks fantastic. The actors all do a really great job. The score is fantastic as well. And I love how this film focused on other things as well, like the Mauritania. And I didn't even, like the little light that they were seeing in the distance. So you were actually getting some glimpses at other ships. So it more felt like an actual historical, you know, capture of what happened. Even though the Titanic, the ship, the wreck itself hadn't been found at that point. So there are things that this film does get wrong. Like, they didn't do the boat snapping, but that's because at the time they didn't know the boat snapped in half because they hadn't found the wreckage of two halves. So, but at the time with the information provided, they got as much of it factually correct as they could, I believe. And it was really, really great. I loved this movie. I think it's better than the James Cameron one. Gonna give it a 9 out of 10. Really, this film had a really big impact on me. I really enjoyed it. Next up, I went to see sorry, hang on. Before I went to see it, I had to watch the first one. I watched The HITMAN'S Bodyguard. So the new one's coming out, so I watched this in preparation. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed, you know, Sam Jackson and Ryan Reynolds are always a pleasure to watch. Salma Hayek, you know, she's becoming quite an interesting actress as well. She's really funny. Can't wait to see her in The Eternals. So yeah, I mean, this film does, it is what it is. It is what it says on the tin. It's fun, energetic, the action's good, it's well paced, choreography's good, the actors are all doing a good job. It's got a sloppy script, the plot's a bit weak, but it's fun. It's fun. It feels like one of those better Fast and Furious movies, like Fast 7 or Fast 5. It's like, yep, it's a bit silly, but it's enjoyable enough. It's good. I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10. Then we've got Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. This is more or less, I'm not sure how the fans feel about this because I'm still very new to all of these big horror blockbusters here. This feels more like a true sequel to the first one. It picks up with the lead character, the girl from the first movie. And they're in kind of like an asylum place, and I found that really interesting. I found it funny. I found it interesting how Freddy was sort of picking characters off one by one. I thought it's a fascinating story. And yeah, Freddy himself was just really, really cool in this one. So yeah, I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. I actually quite enjoyed this. Not as good as the first one, obviously, but it was better than the second one, I think. Then we have LUCA. LUCA I have reviewed here fully on the channel as well, so I'll be quick. Straight to Disney Plus Pixar movie for free, so if you haven't watched it, go do it. Go do it. This is great. This is a great Pixar film. It's more or less on the same level as Soul. I think I prefer Soul a smidge. This is a lot better than Onward. It's better than Raya and the Last Dragon, even though I did like that movie a lot. The animation to this is gorgeous. I loved it. It's got a kind of comic booky style to it at times. It reminds me of like the old Peanuts and Garfield comics that you get in newspapers for free. Color palette is beautiful. The actual characters are adorable. Like Luca himself is so sweet, and it's such a humble character. I love the story. I love dipping into different cultures in movies as well. This film is great. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Really fantastic. Another film I watched in the cinema, also reviewed here on the channel in detail, so I'll be quick. Into the Heights. This is the new Lin-Manuel Miranda film where he wrote all the music. You know, of course, he's most well known for doing Hamilton. Fun fact, though, he actually wrote this one before Hamilton, interestingly enough. Yeah, so I went to see this film, and I had an absolute blast with it. It's still my film of the year. I loved this film. The plot was fantastic. It just puts you in a day in the life of a lot of these characters living in the Heights of course, New York City. I know that some people are giving this film a bit of a bashing because it isn't culturally representing these people enough, and it's fair enough. But take the film for what it is, and it's great. The actors are all doing a great job. They really are. The songs in this, and I've seen a lot of people giving this film shit just because it isn't their style of music, and I don't think that's an excuse to give a film shit. Because I don't like rap music very much, because this has got a lot of rap music in it, but I still went and watched like Straight Outta Compton and respected that film a lot. So I don't think that's an excuse to bash on the movie, and it really annoys me. But anyway, the music in here, even if you don't like the style of music, you've got to respect how genius it is. Lyrically, it's brilliant. The production standpoint is fantastic. The mixing on it is great. It's so clear and sounds so fresh. And I think musicals have got to be one of the hardest films to make, because of all of the choreography that goes into it, with all of the timing of the sounds and stuff, and the creativeness of like when things are banging and stuff. Because like in a musical, sometimes when you hear a bang, it won't be a drum; it'd be someone like someone punching a sticker on something. I know that I also had someone comment on like my review of it saying it looked like it was shot like a Coca-Cola bottle commercial, which I found a bit funny because I didn't get that at all. I thought the film looked fine. I really love this movie. I can't wait to buy the soundtrack on vinyl. It's one of the few movies I've pre-ordered at the minute. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. Then we have Halloween 2. Halloween 2 really surprised me. I thought it was going to be a massive drop-off. I wasn't really expecting much. It was really good fun. I did not expect it to pick up from the word go after the first one. So I found that really interesting. And it's almost a bit sad that, because I know like the 2018 one or whatever, which I can barely remember as well, I believe that it's a direct sequel to the first one. They're sort of forgetting everything to come after the first one. It's actually quite a shame they're going to forget about this one. I think this was quite a good follow-up. I liked how it just picked up straight after. I liked where the characters went and where they ended up. Michael Myers seemed maybe even more menacing in this one. Don't get me wrong, obviously it wasn't as good of a movie, but it was still really good. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Then we have The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. Yeah, I went to see this in the cinema. I've reviewed this fully on the channel. This one here felt like other Fast and Furious movies, like 8 or Hobbs and Shaw or 9, where it's like, now they don't give a crap, they're going to do whatever. This film is somewhat carried by the 3 lead actors again. No, it isn't somewhat. It is completely carried by your 3 lead actors. Sam Jackson, Ryan Reynolds, Selma Hayek completely carry this film. because without them, it's a mess. The script is not good. The plot is unbelievably bad. But the action's fun, and there are some very funny lines in it, which is why I'm not going to be too harsh. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Then we have Halloween 3, Seasons of the Witch. Now, some people quite like this movie, I believe. It takes the Halloween franchise in a really different direction. And I'm really looking forward to watching the fourth one, see where they go from here. I was not a fan of this movie, personally. I really didn't like the direction they went. I didn't like there wasn't really any Michael Myers. Yeah, this movie really caught me off guard. It just really didn't do anything for me. I found myself really bored throughout the whole thing, constantly drifting in and out. Just waiting for Michael Myers to turn up properly, and he just never did. And yeah, I really wasn't a fan of this movie. I'm going to give it... I might piss some Halloween fans off here, and I do apologise. I just felt very disappointed in this movie. Really sorry if you like this movie. I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. I really wasn't a fan. Watched Vertigo next, another Hitchcock film. I'm really excited because the next film up for me with Hitchcock is Psycho. So, yeah, and then The Birds. So, yeah, you'll be seeing them next month. Vertigo, I think I'd had this film a little bit hyped up for me. I thought I'd had a lot of people tell me how incredible this film was. And I watched it, I was like, this is really great. The plot's really good. You know, all the acting's fantastic. A lot of the set pieces are brilliant. I love all that kind of stuff. But I think I expected a bit more. Still had a really good time with it. Movie flowed really well. And there were genuinely some really interesting bits going on in it. But for me, I see people saying like it's like a 8 to a 9 out of 10 movie. For me, I'm going to go 7.5 out of 10. Sorry. Being a bit controversial here at the end, aren't I? Then I had the final film in the Before trilogy, Before Midnight. I was really curious to watch this one because it's a bit newer than the other two. I was wondering how it would end, and it sort of ended just like the others, where there's a bit of an open ending. I thought this movie was fascinating because it's sort of done the opposite of the last one, where they started off in the last one like on a little bit edgy, and then they sort of fell in love at the end again. Whereas with this one, they were in love at the start, and then it sort of all started to fall apart near the end. And it was actually quite heartbreaking to watch it fall apart because you'd spent 2.5 movies with them at this point. You were like, oh no, we haven't come all this way for this, have we? And again, whilst that might annoy some people, I think it worked really well in the film's favour because the dialogue was brilliant. The two lead actors are incredible. And again, it was just nice seeing somewhere different in this movie as well. I think that's maybe what the second film was missing a bit. The locations felt, you know, it was very different, very vast. There were some really interesting side characters in this one, actually, which you didn't really have. I mean, the last couple of films, they were literally just popping up for a couple of seconds. There are actually a couple reoccurring side characters in this one, which I found interesting. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And the last film I have to talk about, which I reviewed fully here on the channel, so I'll be quick, is Fast and Furious 9. I've also done a podcast episode on it, Off to the Movies with Ryan, link in the description. So I'm a bit done talking about this movie, to be honest, because I wasn't a fan, really. I'm fully aware that Fast and Furious are doing whatever they want now. They're stupid and they don't care. And I'm all for it. I want them to go to space. I was rooting for that. Put them on the moon. Do time travel. I don't care. Who cares about Fast and Furious anymore? Right now, it's like they might as well just keep pushing the boundaries because it's already gone beyond them. But this movie didn't really do any of it particularly well. Them going to space was kind of boring. It just didn't really feel that fun. It didn't really feel like it had a huge impact on the story. I think the film itself was just missing all the fun characters. All the best characters from the Fast and Furious franchise are gone or in other things now. Like The Rock and Jason Statham, I felt carried Fast and Furious 8. They weren't in this one, so you didn't have them to carry it. Vin Diesel was a terrible lead actor, I think. Apologies to fans of him. I just find him very boring, very dry. The plot was obviously really stupid. And without those fun characters there to carry it, it didn't work for me. The whole magnet thing was ridiculous. Charlize Theron, really, really weird choice as a villain, and her haircut was embarrassing. I stick to my score of a 4.5 out of 10. But there we go, guys. There's all the films I watched in the month of June 2021. That's right. This month, it's going to be quite interesting. You know, I've already got the Tomorrow War done. I've done another Nightmare on Elm Street. Tomorrow night, I get to see Black Widow. Woo, finally a Marvel film at the cinema. There's a lot of big films coming out in July. So July should be a really fun month for movies. I'm really excited to watch all the films coming out in July and come on here at the end of July, start of August, and talk to you about all those movies again. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like the video, leave a message. And as always, I'll see you next time for another video. Bye-bye.